Hi, have you ever done something very challenging, outside of your element, very uncomfortable? Um, you must have felt vulnerable and perhaps even horrible and alone in your experience. I thought of making this video to share my personal experience here so that we can encourage a perspective of common humanity. Um, I'm taking a course on authentic video creation with authentic business coach George Kao. And one of the homework that we were given for the week was to post a video publicly, right? And I wanted to process my experience using the framework that I often refer to when I'm working with my clients in counseling. And this framework is actually pretty much written and elaborated in Susan David's book, Emotional Agility. All right, so when I first saw the homework, I was getting anxiety. I was getting anxious, okay? And so I started to notice and become aware of the changes in my body when I saw the assignment, and I decided to take a moment and become more aware, and more mindful of my own inner landscape. So that meant that I took time to kind of feel my feelings, to listen to some of the thoughts and stories in my head, try to get in touch with some of the urges that was coming up in my mind, right? And not letting them overwhelm me, but really seeing them as data. Okay, so for instance, I was feeling so frightened and scared because I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to be an embarrassment, right? And I was scared because I don't feel like I'll ever be ready for this. And one of my urges really was also like, maybe you can pretend that you didn't see the homework and don't do it, you know. Or another thought and urge that I had was, to kind of like just get it over and done with, Steph. It doesn't matter. So I decided to hold space for these different experiences within me, and accept that many things can be true at the same time, right? So mindfully noticing what was going on when I was reacting to this assignment that was given to us. And the second step that I apply when I become more aware of my emotional landscape, my inner landscape, is to accept, right? So I was talking about how accepting that many things can be true at the same time, and also accepting that these are simply thoughts, feelings, urges, stories, and they are actually not directives, commands, instructions for me on what I should do. And this pause is very helpful because we are able to then not be reactive, even though we notice and validate our reactions. So we don't act based on our reactions, but we can then do something, choose to do something differently. Okay. And our thoughts, our feelings, our urges are actually really data for us to tell us what matters to us, right? So I knew that protecting my own image of myself is important to me, hence the anxiety, the fear. And that I was excited to do this because I wanted to become better at this. And then so I was accepting these truths for myself. Okay. And then the next part is really about accepting what is within and outside of my control. So there are so many things that are outside of my control, and I can kind of like surrender to that, because what can I do about them, right? Maybe people won't like my video, maybe people won't like my content, and I can't please everyone. So I will just have to surrender to that, and I can focus and commit my resources to things that are within my control, which meant that I don't act on my impulse to go live or post any video that I make immediately. It meant that I gave myself space to prepare, right? To think through within reasonable limits on what I can do to become somewhat prepared enough for this, because the reality is that I can never be 100% prepared, okay, and that I have to accept that there are limits, and that I am not good at this, okay, and then that I accept that I can prepare enough, but I won't be perfect, okay. And something that I know that is within my control is also anticipating my own reactions, and which means that I accept that I'll be embarrassed after I post this, and I will run away, and I accept that being embarrassed is also the normal process of most creators when they put things out into the universe. um, and so I mindfully notice, I accept, and then the next important step is to commit to action. Okay, many of us end up in our heads a lot, planning, preparing, but fall short of taking action, right? We can be so aware of feeling scared, or we can be so aware that that there are so many 1,000 things to do before we can ever be ready, but that will only add on to the procrastination and the tendencies for perfectionism. So the most important thing is actually to take action in a way that is aligned with what matters to us, our values, which Susan David talks a lot about. So me wanting to grow my ability to create authentic videos is something that is important to me right now, right? So in spite of the fear, the anxiety, in spite of the knowledge that I'm not good at this, I am committing an action to do something that it's um, I'm scared of, but important anyway. So acting in alignment with what matters to me is really an important part of emotional agility that I am practicing. Um, and I hope that uh, me sharing my experience has helped. I would like you to know that I'm actually sweating from every single pore of my body. I actually went live on Instagram just now to challenge myself, and I was drenched in my own perspiration. But I decided to continue with the work that I plan to do a recording for my Facebook page, and to just simply share my experience. And there we go. I'm taking this opportunity also to wish you a lovely day.